So far in its short history, AEW has been shrewd in booking the World Championship. And though there have been moments of injury or misbehavior fueled hot potatoing, the men who have worn the top strap in AEW have all felt like the guy at that moment, whether they're industry legends or next big things. Now, while this is ultimately a sensible way to book a belt, it does make the lineage a little predictable. Scouring the deeper benches of AEW's locker room, though, presents some rather fascinating unexpected choices in the world title picture, whether for storyline purposes out of reverence to lengthy careers, or just to stir the pot. The wrestling business always needs a little chaos, and the odd wild decision. So I am Gareth here from What Culture Wrestling, and here are 10 wild outside bets to become AEW World Champion. Number 8, Dustin Rhodes. The former Goldust has stated that 2023 will be his last year in wrestling, and it's fair to say the senior Rhodes boy has done almost everything one can in the business. He overcame the shadow of his father, accumulated many years in WWE, portrayed a unique character, and enjoyed the winter of his career doing some of his best work. He's never been world champion though, and perhaps that ought to change. Rhodes is the definition of a sentimental favourite in his latter days, and the babyface pop he would garner were he to snatch AEW's top prize would be monumental. His recent match with Will Hobbs, a little gem on Collision, shows he can still go, even if the end is near. Obviously, Rhodes couldn't realistically hold the title for more than a cup of coffee, but his incredible career deserves celebrating while he's still around to enjoy the adulation. Number 7, Sha Spears. In his clashes with FTR and ongoing enmity with Darby Allin, AEW has alluded to MJF's past beefs, but the company is yet to milk the relationship between Max and one of his most loyal backers, the chairman Sha Spears. Not unlike Dustin, Spears has indicated that his in-ring end is near, but a feud with one of the faces of AEW would be irresistible to the former Ty Dillinger. While he hasn't been on TV too much of late, Spears is another sentimental fan favourite when in babyface mode, and deserves a little more out of the company. MJF's recent booking has seen him reckon with his past, and ostensibly try to become a better person. Spears hasn't been wronged as badly as a lot of AEW stars, but he was certainly used as a prop by Friedman to wriggle out of scrapes and fights. The personal angle in the build to this prospective feud is obvious. If a Spears championship run looks unlikely to grab a perfect 10, he at least deserves a moment of glory for everything he's given. Number 6, AR Fox. At long last, AR Fox was given something to do other than tag with the next generation of high flyers, and occasionally work a mid-card solo match in a losing effort, with Fox teaming with Swerve Strickland in an angle against the always popular Darby Allin, before eventually being turned on by Swerve and realigning with the face-painted babyface. Perhaps the indie veteran is finally on his way to something more substantial. Probably not, but he'd be a hell of a daring choice to depose MJF as champion. While Fox isn't exactly a household name, he's one of a handful of AEW talents who can be absolutely guaranteed to win over a crowd every single time. In the ring, he's crisp, convincing, and hugely innovative. Combine that with a welcome turn towards some interesting character beats, and you might just have something to work with. Fox is in a sense diametrically opposed to MJF, the journeyman scrapper versus the hand-picked company choice. Fox has a track record of training and pulling up younger wrestlers, quite the opposite of the self-serving champion. Fox sells his position as a bitter, underachieving bad guy brilliantly, but if he were to let even more of the real him in, it could be fodder for a top run. Number 5, Christian Cage. For all that Christian Cage's AEW debut was overblown, it's right to say he's a Hall of Famer and an all-time great. The man helped revolutionize tag team wrestling and remains one of the most reliable workers around in his 4th decade of active competition. What he lacks is the truly memorable world title run. He had his moments in WWE, of course, but his excellent feud with Randy Orton didn't lead to lengthy work on top. His Impact/NWA championship stints aren't high up on the list of career highlights either. On the assumption he'll be winding down before long, what better reward could there be than a stint at the top of AEW's tree? He can still perform, and we've seen repeatedly that his character work is as sharp and effective as anyone's out there. What's more, he could help elevate his right-hand man Luchasaurus, and has history with the likes of Jack Perry when it comes to taking the belt off him. A Christian Cage MJF smarm-off could be the recipe for some some bubbling heat too, and most importantly gives Christian the chance to end his career on the happy note he richly deserves. But I want to know, what's your favourite Christian Cage moment of all time? Something to do with somebody's dead dad or something else? Let me know in the comment section down below, my friends. Number 4, Big Bill. Sometimes a change is as good as a rest. Thus far, AEW's top guys have primarily been technically sound, maybe a little undersized by some standards, often bona fide indie darlings. To call Big Bill the diametric opposite of this would be unfair. He has some decent matches under his belt, and his character work has come a long way, but he would most certainly be a shock to the system for the company's title picture. The idea of a dominant big man has almost become a joke in modern wrestling, with true behemoths rarely getting much of a push. Big Bill is an unbelievable physical specimen, who happens to be in the shape of his damn life. If ever there was a time for a shake-up, it would be now, baby! Stick him back with Stokely Hathaway, or keep Ricky Starks barking like a madman by his side before stabbing him in his back, and you could just have something special. Giants are woven into the fabric of the business, and this one happens to have an inspiring comeback story under his belt too. It might just work, you know. Number 3, Jeff Jarrett. It was easy to sneer when Jeff Jarrett became All Elite, but the value for money the Last Outlaw has provided so far has been quite remarkable, really. The Memphis veteran just knows how to wind people up in the most entertaining manner possible, and there's little he could do that would be more annoying than to snatch the world title. Jarrett and the top belt can be bad news, of course, and the idea of the 56-year-old Jeff embarking on another reign of terror would be enough to put the frighteners up many of AEW's current crop of fans. Though he's transitioning to a backstage role, Jarrett as a performer is showing few signs of slowing up, and has been one of the most reliable TV players the company has to offer since his signing. As much as a lot of wrestling fans would balk at the idea he'd take a place at the top of the card, with his old school mic skills and modern understanding of the business, it's a safe bet he'd probably make it work, wouldn't he? Number 2, Lance Archer. No major wrestling company can ever serve every one of its performers as well as it might like, but if AEW lets Lance Archer's career with them pass by undecorated, that would be a major letdown. The Murderhawk monster has had a stop-start time of it under Tony Khan's auspices. In the plus column is his underutilized partnership with Jake Roberts, and a massively underrated violent title shot against Adam Page a few years back. In the minus column, well, he's just not around all that much, to the point that he's vocalized his frustrations on social media as recently as this February. At 46, Archer still has options open to him elsewhere, and it's not hard to see him departing AEW when his contract ends. He'd be a big miss though, even if his booking doesn't always back that up. AEW is yet to book a properly monstrous world champion. You're unlikely to find a monster who can actually work as well as the terrifying Lance Archer. And number 1, Tony Khan. So far, the AEW owner and booker has kept himself primarily behind the scenes, popping up mainly to award the odd grand prize, to make a major announcement, or just announce the firing of CM Punk. At time of recording, he doesn't seem primed to do a late 90s Vince McMahon and suddenly make himself a major character in AEW television. Suppose he did though. TK's on-camera appearances haven't shown great aptitude for performing, but this is most likely a matter of nerves. Listening to the guy speak in more comfortable settings, his enthusiasm and love for the business is palpable. He's a wrestling fan who owns a wrestling company. There's no way he hasn't thought about it. As a way to end MJF's reign, it's hard to think of anything more poetic. The current champ has treated Khan with nothing short of contempt, certainly in kayfabe and arguably in real life at some points of last year. The years-long story of the bidding war and MJF absconding with the belt could be resolved by the owner taking a leaf out of his Connecticut rival's book, getting impossibly jacked, and stripping the company's top guy of the title by force. Now that's fantasy booking, brother. And that's our list. Know of any other wild outside bets to become AEW World Champion? Well, let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and don't forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're down there. Also, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, then please head on over to whatculture.com and find some more fantastic articles just like the one this video you're watching right now is based on. I've been future AEW World Champion Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Cheers for checking out this video today, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye bye!